Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randyrhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
You able to say goodbye?
Oh, yeah. In person, and then on the phone. Laura and I went over to see her a week ago Saturday, and we had a wonderful visit. She was strong, lucid.
Funny, still?
Funny. She and I were needling each other, and the doctor came in, and she turned to the doctor and said, "You want to know why George W. is the way he is?" And the doctor looked somewhat surprised. She said, "Because I drank and smoked when I was pregnant with him."
Okay, that explains everything. That's all I needed to hear. That explains everything. Everything. Well, you know, they say if you have nothing nice to say nothing. So Barbara Bush has passed away. All right, then. I will tell you this. The flag at Mar-a-Lago is not at half-staff to honor Barbara Bush this morning. But in fairness, it's a Russian flag. So, you know. No, honestly, it's really weird because the President of the United States did order all American flags to be flown at half-staff today. And you would think that Trump, in his competency, would order that to be the case at the Southern White House here in Palm Beach, but it didn't get done. So I'm guessing it's Nikki Haley's fault. All right. Poor Nikki Haley, she's on her way. You know that's happening. They sent Larry Kudlow out there yesterday to say that poor Nikki Haley is confused because Trump has changed his mind on putting sanctions on the Russians. And Nikki Haley made this big-ass announcement at the UN that, we will be putting sanctions on. And then she was all over the Sunday talk shows on Sunday. And people were saying, well, that strike on Syria on Friday night, that thing lasted all of 2 minutes. Do you realize that? We fired 105 missiles in 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, that's how long the strike was on Syria. Did absolutely nothing to keep, Assad from having chemical weapons. Didn't attack the helicopters that deliver the chemical weapons. Didn't attack places where the barrel bombs are kept, which, delivers the chlorine, which was the chemical, wasn't a nerve agent as far as we know. I could say I've not seen any evidence that it was a nerve agent like sarin, and neither has the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dunford. Gotta say, the best uniforms have to be the Marines and the Navy. I don't know if you saw that on Friday night. I'm still trying to unpack Friday, and it's Wednesday today. It's Wednesday. This happened days ago. But when they had that little dog and pony show, and they had the military, talk to the press about this 2-minute strike on Syria, they sent out General Dunford, and he was wearing his army dress, which is like a, it's like a nasty sage green with a brown shirt and a brown tie. It's just not good. The Air Force is kind of boring. I mean, our dress uniforms were, navy blue with a lighter blue and a little thing, for the women, a little, insert into the neck, the neck area, almost a tie, not quite, But the Marines, they got braids and they got things and gold and shimmery and, just black and red and the Navy too, beautiful, I mean, and there you had Mad Dog Mattis, in a regular civilian suit because he's not active anymore. And he said, they asked him, did you see any evidence of, sarin? What was the chemical? And he didn't want to say. Now today it's in the paper that he wanted Trump to go to Congress to get permission to, use military force in Syria because he didn't feel it was covered under the 2002 George W. Bush, which is why I'm, skipping. I mean, sad to have your mom die, gotta say. But 92, the best thing I could take from it is that they were totally in love. I have to say that, HW and Babs there, I mean, he just worshipped her. This is good news for women who never looked young. Do you know what I mean? You ever see a man who looks old by the time he's 13? I mean, this was Babs. I mean, she just, they called her the Silver Fox. They gave her all these names. But he loved her. I mean, honestly, that was some love affair. 73 years they were married, and that's the best thing I could take. Then, we have their offspring to deal with. And W, he's the one that we're still paying for his decision to. So they were talking about the Syria thing, and Mattis said, I don't know. I don't know what it was. And they go, well, sir, it looks like it was just chlorine, which is bad, okay, but it doesn't look like a nerve agent. And so what the hell? Where's the evidence? Well, I'll have to get back to you on that. So today we get the newspaper story. Oh, Mattis wanted Trump to go to Congress, but, he didn't. And this is exactly what Obama did do. Just want to refresh for everybody. They say, oh, well, Obama had a red line in Syria and, everybody crossed it and he didn't do anything. Bull crap. He went to Congress the way you're supposed to, because we're still operating under the AUMF, the authorization to use military force in Afghanistan, for Iraq, and for every other place that we've ever been without going back to Congress. So, thanks a lot for that. Bush family is all I can say. But, it's like Groundhog Day today. No, not because it's Friday again, because it's yesterday again.
The IRS will give taxpayers an extension to file their returns after widespread outages on the agency's website today. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin told this to reporters while speaking at an event in New Hampshire. He said that the problem was due to high volume technical issues and that the IRS is attempting to resolve it. No word on how long that extension will last. We are reaching out to the IRS for more details. Kelly, back over to you.
It's rolling tax day, everybody. It's rolling tax day. It's Groundhog Day. Is there some sort of a rule around this administration that everything has to go wrong? Is there some sort of a rule that says if it's got like the Trump administration attached to it, it will get hacked, or it will get soiled, or it will get sullied, or threatened, or bullied? I don't know, but what is going on at the IRS? I mean, we have never had this before, ever. We have never, ever, ever had tax day extended by one day because of failures to over at the Internal Revenue Service. I don't know. Maybe Trump puts, Donald Jr.'s friend in charge. Maybe it's like some 23-year-old campaign volunteer from Dallas, who used to be like an H&R Block, receptionist, and they put him in charge of the IRS website. I have no earthly idea. I mean, this is just crazy. Or was it Nikki Haley? Bam! And I know it must have been Nikki Haley because Larry Kudlow, they interviewed Larry Kudlow yesterday, the top economic advisor to the new, the new top economic, a TV guy is what it is. A TV guy. It's like you got a Sean Hannity, you got a Lou Dobbs. They're like the chiefs of staff now, okay? It's like, they have desks right there in the, off the Oval. So Kudlow says, they asked him about this extension that the IRS had to, because they crashed. Something terrible happened over there. And he actually said this. He said, quote, the IRS is crashing? Sounds horrible. Sounds like it's really bad. Hope it gets fixed. Where's Nikki Haley? No, I added the last part. I mean, it's just so unbelievable. I have never, and you know what? They won't tell us what happened at the IRS. They won't tell us. But I will tell you, I think that it feels to me like hacking. You know what I mean? I can't imagine. Either that or it's the budget cuts. Either that or it's the new tax plan. They were unable to, I don't know. All I can say is that, the entire government has sunk to Trump's level of incompetence. I've never seen anything. Where's Nikki Haley? She's the only competent one, so I know she's on her way out. You know that, right? And you saw what happened on the Fox News last night. Nikki Haley, was on Face the Nation. She was on Fox News Sunday. And they were asking her about this 2-minute strike in Syria. And they were saying to her, is that all you got? I mean, wouldn't we be better off doing nothing than sending a message to Iran and to Bashar al-Assad and to the Russians that America, really isn't going to do much of anything no matter what you do. And she said, well, that's not all we're going to do. I mean, there's going to be a lot of sanctions and they'll be announced on Monday by Mnuchin. And then Kudlow said, oh, I think she's confused. I don't think, I think she doesn't. She's behind the curve. She didn't know. I think she's confused.
You will see that Russian sanctions will be coming down. Secretary Mnuchin will be announcing those on Monday if he hasn't already. And they will go directly to any sort of companies that were dealing with equipment related to Assad and chemical weapons use.
She's done a great job. She's a very effective ambassador. There might have been some momentary confusion about that. But if you talk to Steve Mnuchin at Treasury and so forth, he will tell you the same thing. They're in charge of this. We have had sanctions. Additional sanctions are under consideration, but
in the last half hour, I was able to get in touch with Nikki Haley, and she said, quote, with all due respect, I don't get confused. So there is some clarity, at least from her part, on that tonight.
You're fired. She seems to me to be the only competent person left in the Trump administration. Other than that, what do you got? You got Larry Kudlow from the TV, who has gotten every financial prediction he's ever made from 2000, forever. 2007, when everybody was saying, well, I was saying, I can't speak for anybody else, that the housing market was going to implode, get your. I remember my advice to you. I was saying, like, if you have your money, in Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac or any of these things, right? Get it all in cash. Get your money in cash, right? I kept telling people, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And, Larry Kudlow said, oh, all these naysayers and the nattering nabobs of negativity, they don't know what they're talking about. There is going to be no recession. The stock market's so strong. I think there are hidden pockets of joy in the housing market. It's going to be beautiful. Everything's going to be so smooth. It's just, we know exactly how to do. And, of course, the market imploded. People got, but anyway, Larry Kudlow is now our top economic advisor to the president. Sean Hannity seems to be referring all his legal counsel. Okay, so this is what we found out today. Do you remember Victoria Tensing and Joe DeGeneva was supposed to go work for Donald Trump on the, Mueller investigation, and they said they couldn't because they had conflicts. You know why they have conflict? They're Sean Hannity's attorneys, too. They wrote letters to a station in Tulsa that criticized Sean Hannity. A woman alleged that Sean Hannity was creepy with her. And all of a sudden, a letter appears at this Tulsa station saying that this girl, Schlussel, who's some conservative, commentator, who said that Hannity had been creepy with her, sent her a cease and desist letter. And the cease and desist letter was signed by Jay Sekulow, Donald Trump's personal attorney now, Victoria Tensing. Now, Joe DeGeneva's signature wasn't on it, but it was also listed as being of counsel to Sean Hannity. So Sean Hannity is literally recommending lawyers to Donald Trump because Donald Trump can't get any lawyers. Nobody wants to work for Donald Trump. Nobody wants to, associate themselves with Donald Trump. So apparently Donald Trump is getting his advice off the TV. He's getting it from Dershowitz and Joe DeGeneva and Victoria Tensing and Jay Sekulow. And the law firm of Pompous and Bombastic. I don't know. I mean, this is what the president was able to attract. So Sean Hannity is the one that's been recommending lawyer. And I guess in exchange, Trump shared Michael Cohen with him, who's now under a criminal investigation. Oh, it's just so beautiful. And then the IRS crashes because it all must be incompetent. Jesus. RandiRhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.